The lightness and agility of this soaring bridge was underlined by the transparent and thin design of this structure. In the same years, working on a bridge project on the Maracaibo's lagoon, owing to the exceptional length of the bridge and the depth of the seabed, Morandi was led to study a new way to realize a cable-stayed bridge in prestressed concrete with upper tie beams. He developed fundamentally two types of upper tie beams structures. In the first, cable passes on top of the trestle and then goes down to the foundation and be anchored in a counterbalance structure in concrete. In the second type, the ties pass over the top of the trestle and goes to the other side of the beam that was simply learned on the trestle. This system allows to reduce load on foundation and to have a bridge, hypothetically, with an unfinished series of successive coupling of Gerber beams. The bridge over the Maracaibo's lagoon is about 9 kilometers long and entails 2,035 meters of clear span in the center, 5 center base, with a clear height of 50 meters above sea level. A solution also imposed by the necessity of the intense maritime traffic of oil tankers in this bay. Originally, the Maracaibo Bridge must be realized with a central arch of 420 meters. But the alteration of the first idea doesn't change the fundamental feature of this architecture, a strong true affirmation of a landscape, as Brunzelli said in 1965. A complex project in which a simple series of bays solves the severe tension of the bridge in a fortress army. To eradicate all perplexities in his collaborators about the feasibility of the bridge, he proposed to use 3 elements of already tested dimension, so nothing were really invented totally, to obtain the prefixed result without building anything that hadn't already been controlled and tested in present constructions. So the exceptionality of this structure does not really reside in structural invention, but in spatial, formal and architectural interpretation. The structural conception of the viaduct of the Polcevera that you already see with the presentation of Professor Luton derived clearly from Maracaibo Bridge. Yet, contrary to what done in Venezuela, at Genoa, Morandi didn't establish a relationship with natural landscape, but with the sea. The cable-stayed bridge erected in the city of Genoa no longer enhances nature, nor rather make the landscape appear artificial with a huge cable rising above like stabilizing elements. Large infrastructure work at a different scale from that of the sea. Even if we consider historical centers of suburbs, Morandi takes advantage of this to investigate new ways to give a measure, establish a limit, and confer the correct proportion to the city. The new, often huge scale of infrastructures, and particularly bridge, become in his work an element of design able to bring into harmony human and natural environments. In this way, fragmentation and incoherence of the contemporary metropolis are led back to order through architecture. In the following years, Morandi continues to work around the idea that what really counts in architecture isn't formalist, but a strong coherence between structure, society, and construction methods. In Varial Kloof Bridge in Libya, he has to pass over a deep gorge in the Cyrenaic Plateau, a bridge that is only 500 meters long, but extends 2,000 meters of the valley. The bridge is a part of the Great Highway of Libya along the Mediterranean. It's among the great concrete works so far constructed, especially due to its sponge. When it was executed, it was the sole man-made structure in a beautiful endless panorama, made up of colored rock and deep valleys clothed by Mediterranean vegetation. And the bridge therefore provided to its construction, the unforgettable experience of inserting this work in an absolutely virgin natural context of supreme uncontaminated beauty. In this case in particular, it is firmly considered that such a troll search for a sincere composition, formed solely of mutual interaction of proportion, was determined by the enchantment and appeal of the landscape. The static conception of the bridges is quite simple. Two stand-alone balanced cantilever beams on which is leaned the middle beam, attaining a central clear span of 282 meters. But in this work, most important than static conception was constructional process and building the organization. The piers have to be realized with the traditional construction methods, while the middle span was constructed by successive segments with the aid of a movable metallic beam. Every ashlar was connected by the previous by divided bars employed to pre-stress the structure, one time again in construction phases. In a second time, Morandi applies his so-called conversion of the system operation, removing the divided bars, post-tensioning tie cables, and setting the definitive structure post-stressing tension. In the word of Morandi, mathematical calculation of the unknown becomes a real object and obedient to the project. There we may see a deeper harmonization, a more accurate dialogue between work and landscape, dialogue which is made of assonance and dissonance. The work of Morandi in these last two unrealized projects with a cable-stayed bridge, the work of Morandi reminds us the importance of architecture in urban areas, in landscape, and on social transformation of our times. His structures are a master lecture we can speak to all, and their extraordinary communicative power comes from a deep critical meditation of the values of our culture in a deep historical perspective. And the last project not realized for the bridge over the Messina Strait is a floating bridge resting on floating support in concrete. So the bridge becomes, little by little, in the work of Morandi, at the same time a rift and a tie in landscape, by its quality of not link simple physical but intrinsic between two sides. The bridge in Morandi's work becomes more than an infrastructure, a metaphor. As Gerd Simmel said, the human being is the connecting creator who must always separate and cannot connect without separating. That is why we must first conceive intellectually of the merely different existence of two river bands of something separated in order to connect them by means of a bridge. Thank you for listening.